I
Right.
appreciate the time tonight and want to get into the tour, the album, get your opinion on a couple things, talk a little Tremonti, talk a little Sinatra with you. But
Yeah, man.
let's get into it, man. Let's back up. For the past couple years, we've had some crazy years. We all had to endure it. And I remember the Walk the Sky tour and the Wiltern show, February 24th, 2020, kind of right before the S hit the fan. And kind of curious. Now we got Pawns and Kings a few years later. How quickly after the fit hit the shan did you start working on new material? Was it take a while, or were you ready to kind of go?
I think for about the first 6 months of it happening, I kind of I went to a dark place like the rest of the world and wasn't very inspired to do much. But at that time, the time I wasn't doing a lot of rock stuff, I started singing along way more than I've ever used to Frank Sinatra tunes. And that's kind of how I really became obsessed with it, because I had all that extra time, because I was a handyman. I was painting my house and stuff. We couldn't go anywhere, so I was stuck. I'm like, I might as well stay home and fix my house. So I put my headphones on, listen to Sinatra, paint my house, and sing along. And that's kind of what really gave me the time to do that project.
Yeah. How quickly did you get to writing Pawns and Kings?
That was well after, because I had done a whole record with Tremonti, the Marching in Time record. That was really the first album that came out of the ashes of the COVID lockdowns, and that we got to put a lot of work into that record because there was so much downtime. And yeah, spent a lot of time with Eric Freeman, my other guitar player, making demos, and had the luxury of way more time than normal to put that together. And then Pawns and Kings, that was kind of a you know quick shotgun writing kind of session, because it was like, all right, you guys are going in the studio in 8 or 9 months, so you better write a record. uh, I like to have 2 years to write a record, but sometimes when somebody lights a fire under you, you gotta work around the clock and make it happen, and that's what we had to do.
Step up to the challenge, right?
That's right.
Well, I love it, man. So many great tunes on it. Silver Tongue, Holiday, This Is War, Sin After Sin. Do you have a favorite on the album?
Maybe Sin After Sin.
Was that a little Judas Priest influenced or inspired by the title at least?
No, you know what? That was I purposely put on a really slow, sleazy drum track, and I was like, I would just want to write something just nasty and doomy. Uh, Throw on an octave pedal and just write something heavy. And that I probably spent more time on that song than any other song on the record. That's why the song is so long, because I'd written so many parts for it. But at the end of the day, when I finally found that perfect part to fill out a certain section of the song, I was like, I don't want to cut this part either. Let me just keep on adding parts as long as it made sense. Um, so that's why it's I don't know, a 6 minute song.
I love it, man. Great track, and looking forward to hearing these tunes live. We got you in our neighborhood, in our market at Yaamava Casino in Highland, California, and that show coming up on April the 1st, and kind of the end of the tour, at least for a little bit. You got like 6 weeks off after that. I'm kind of curious, man. Are into tour pranks still a thing? Do you do anything on April Fools? Is there any sort of prank on April Fools you
Oh,
pull, or?
man. Is it the last show on April Fools?
It is.
Wow. I'm glad you planted that seed, because we're gonna have to think of something. We didn't really do pranks on the last tour with Hailstorm and Mammoth. But and this is because it's not really an ending tour, because we've been on tour with Mammoth now for the whole cycle, so we're going to continue through then.
Right.
And I think back out with them again after that. So we'll see. Being that it's April Fools, we'll have to come up with something.
I figure like you got to do something between the two April Fools and being in the end of the run, at least for 6 weeks. Something's got to come up. Do you have any good end of tour pranks that come to mind?
Uh, we've had some uh, we've had some good ones, but we I remember once the As Lions was opening up for us, which is Bruce Dickinson's son was the singer.
Oh, right.
Big backdrop that said As Lions, and I just added an extra S to it on the last show, so they were the As Lions. But they tore that S down really quick. I love those guys though. But we also had gosh, I think some bands poured like ping pong, like a billion ping pong balls all over the drum set, so they're flying all over the place. We did one where we were gosh, we were out with a band called Disconnected, and the drummer was a fantastic drummer. We would go out there and just take off as he's playing, take off parts of his drum set. And by the end of the song, he's just doing rim shots on his snare and, kicking his snare. That's about it. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I look forward to that. And like you had mentioned, Mammoth out with you. And obviously you go back with Wolfgang. He was in the Tremonti band. But do you remember the first time you met him?
Yeah. Well, the first time I met him was when he was pretty much a baby. I think he might have been 7 years old. It was, we were opening up for Van Halen, and we were in Madison Square Garden, and he was down there with his mother and Eddie, and he was just backstage. He was just this this little kid. I didn't really formally meet him, but I was with him. And then years later, it turns out he was a fan of the band Alter Bridge, and came to sound checks, and we became buds. And I remember I was staying in LA, and he gave me a call. He's like, "Hey man, you want to come watch Van Halen practice?" I was like,
Yeah.
damn straight I do.
That's really rad, man. And what a singer and musician he's turned out to be. Everyone wants to talk about the Van Halen reference, but I really love his voice. His voice is very unique and great.
Oh, he's awesome. And we just listened to a bunch of his new record just the other day, and it's amazing. He's got some surprises on that record that are going to blow people.
Might be interesting to see. I mean, wonder if he goes heavier or lighter or the same or
Well, it's one of the things. I don't know if I can let the cat out of the bag, but he did something on the record that's going to get everybody to want to listen to that track. It's pretty awesome.
Wouldn't be shocked if you end up on the record.
I'm not on the record.
I know he likes doing it all by himself, all solo, and recording every instrument, which is amazing in and of itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dude, you had mentioned the Sinatra album and being a paisan, right? You're Italian. I'm sure you, like me, were raised on that music.
Yeah, man, it was just part of our lives, and it's always been my happy place. Sinatra comes on, it just makes me feel good.
And you did that album, and I think one show for it, and all the proceeds go into the National Down Syndrome Society.
Yeah, we've done 5 shows now. We got the 6th one coming up on March 2nd. We're getting close to that $1 million mark of raised funds, so we're feeling good about it. And the live shows are about the most fun I could ever have. It's awesome. I love it.
Completely different arena than doing a rock show, I imagine.
Oh yeah, I got no guitar on. I got it's a very exposed thing, to say the least. There's when you do the rock thing, you have backup vocals and harmonies, and you got big electric guitars just soaking up all the sound, and this is just very exposed and pure, and I love it.
Are you doing the suit and the top hat and everything?
I'm doing the tux. No hat. I can't pull off the hat. Yeah.
Are you going to do another album, or are you going to turn to a different crooner, or is it just kind of a one and done deal?
I want to do another album, and both. I'd like to do more Sinatra songs, but I'd also like to do other songs. I love Mel Torme. I love modern jazz singers. I love Kurt Elling. There's a lot of songs that I sing along to of his that I love. I would love to do a cover of. Gregory Porter is another great new jazz singer that I love. So it's kind of made me go down this path of trying to find artists that have a similar vocal range to me that I can go in and learn something new from them. So it's and those guys like Mel Torme sings a little higher than I do, but he's got a cooler, a jazzier approach than say Frank Sinatra did, which is kind of cool for me to pick up new little tricks, little choices of notes.
I was thinking maybe Tony Bennett too.
Tony Bennett's great. Absolutely. He was Frank Sinatra's favorite singer.
Yeah, that might be the next one you would try to tackle.
There's just certain singers you think you can do well. I don't know if I could nail the Tony Bennett thing. I could try.
Worth a shot. And you had touched on it, Tremonti. Are we working on new riffs for Tremonti?
Always. I'm always just working on just writing in general. Right now, I'm writing. I've written a novel called A Dying Machine, and I'm writing another novel now that is taking up a hell of a lot of time. It's a lot of work.
And then that second novel will tie into the Tremonti record.
No, it's just a standalone thing. You know, the first novel I did it tied in with the Dying Machine record, and I hired a co-writer to help me get it done fast so it could come out while the record was done. Since I have no timelines now, I'm just writing this one all by myself, and it's been a fun learning process, but it's a lot of work because you write through 100 pages and you do something better. It's like, all right, I got to go back to page number one and fix what I've done, and it's a lot of work.
Well, that's writing fiction. You ever think about writing a biography, writing about yourself and your story?
No, you know, so many people do it. You know, there's so many artists that have done that. I'd rather do the fictional thing. I'd rather write something that got turned into a TV show or a movie, or you know.
Not ready for the autobiography yet.
No, you know what am I going to say? Hey, look at me. Look what I did. You know, like I think somebody else should write a story about you. If there's a story about somebody, I think somebody else should write it.
Ah, interesting, interesting. And just the last couple of things here, and if I could bug you, I do a little, music debates from time to time because that's ultimately what we are. We're music fans. What you do, what I do, we're all just music nerds. But it's
Mhm.
rare that I get the opportunity to ask an artist about one of the debates that I like to get into from time to time. And I like to compare album versus album. There's a Nine Inch Nails one, album one versus album two. So I got to ask you, my Creed debate, album one versus album two. Do you have a preference out of the two?
Um, you know, they're so different to me. The first record, we were just kids. We were, you know, what you hear is what we recorded with our, I don't know, $2,000 budget. You know, and the songs were real, and it's funny when you listen to the quality of those songs versus what's on the radio now. They sound like a garage demo. But that being said, Human Clay was the biggest record we ever put out. It had some songs on there that I think some of the album tracks off that record were some of my favorites, like songs like Beautiful or
Mm.
um not you know, there's gosh, a few other tracks on that record that I love, but I they're my babies. They're totally different. I like them for different reasons. I like My Own Prisons for its rawness, for its
Yeah.
uh for the kid in me, you know.
Yeah, that's the one I kind of gravitate towards. And that one was recorded in a bunch of different studios too. It wasn't like one place, right?
Well, we recorded the original stuff at a gentleman named John Kurzweg in Tallahassee. He was kind of the local hot shot producer. He had a record deal previously, so he in town he was the guy, and we went to him, recorded the tracks, and then when we got a record deal with that record, we took it to Ron St. Germain to remix it. And that's when we went up to Boston. We went up to the farm. It's called. It's outside of Worcester, and that's where the Bad Brains recorded "Eye Against Eye." There's a few other great records that were recorded there, but so it was remixed there. Then we put it out. Yeah, and I think we might have done some orchestral stuff after the fact, but that's it.
Love it, man. Love it. And I appreciate you chipping in on that debate. Got one last thing for you being a music fan. We're an old school radio station. We do mandatory Metallica every night at 10 p.m., which you're going to be a part of. And I don't know if it necessarily work for Alter Bridge, but more of a Tremonti thing. If you were to do a Tremonti cover of a Metallica tune, what do you think it would be?
Man, you know what? Me and Eric Friedman, my other guitar player, covered "Welcome Home Sanitarium"
Wow.
already.
Ah,
We did it on. We did this Loudwire interview where you had to play these Hello Kitty guitars, like these little baby guitars, and we did Metallica cover on those guitars. So since that's one's fresh for us, I think we'd do that. And my favorite song is Orion. It's an
oh,
instrumental
yeah, of course.
off the Hetfield thing, so great vocally. So maybe the instrumental's the way to go.
No, I like Sanitarium. You could do that, especially the clean singing and stuff. I think I could
Yeah,
pull that off. That'd be sick.
we'll check it out on YouTube, man. It's there.
I definitely will. Mark, I appreciate all the time. Lastly, if I could just trouble you for one of those cheesy radio station ID thingies where you say your name and the band name and my name and the radio station name. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a pen and paper handy or good parroting because there's numbers and letters and stuff.
Let me see if I can memorize it.
So however you want to set it up, Mark Tremonti from Alter Bridge hanging with Mike Z on 96.7 KCal Rocks.
All right, 96.7 KCal rocks.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Mark Tremonti, and you're tuned into Mike Z on 96.7 KCal rocks.
Beautiful, man. Thank you so much for the time, and best of luck with the record and the tour, and can't wait to see you out there on the road.
Thanks, man. I didn't include the band name. Should I do that?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it one more with the band name.
Hey, this is Mark Tremonti from Alter Bridge, and you're tuned into Mike Z on 96.7 KCal rocks. Hey, this is Mark Tremonti from Alter Bridge, and you're tuned into Mike Z on 96.7 KCal rocks.
Beautiful, man. Thank you so much for the time. It was an honor to talk to you, and can't wait to see you live.
Honor to talk to you, man. Thanks so much.